Hello everyone, I'm Michael Vincent. Today I'm going to share with you a story about one of South Korea's three most infamous unsolved cases, the Frog Boys' disappearance. This tale takes us back to 1991, when five elementary school students from Seunghwae National School in South Korea took advantage of a day off to head to nearby Warryong Mountain to catch fire salamanders. But then, they mysteriously vanished. When the incident happened, the children's parents scoured the country looking for them. Even the president of South Korea ordered a massive nationwide search. In total, over 318,000 personnel, including the military, were deployed. More than 200 million missing person flyers were distributed, and a reward of 42 million won was offered, setting a record in South Korean crime history. Despite all this, nothing was found. It wasn't until 11 years later that the bodies of the five children were unexpectedly discovered in a bizarre state. Yet, to this day, no one knows who the killer was. This case has since become one of South Korea's most notorious mysteries. So, what exactly happened back then? How did these five kids disappear, and who took their lives? Let's travel back to 1991 and dig into the details of this case together. The story unfolds in Daegu, a well-known city in the central southern part of North Gyeongsang Province, South Korea. Daegu stands alongside Seoul and Busan as one of the country's three major cities, often called the Apple City and the Fashion City. On March 26, 1991, the city shut down schools and public offices for a local council election, giving everyone a day off. Naturally, the kids were the most excited about it. 6 students from Seunghwae National School, Kim Jong-jik, 9 years old, Park Chan-in, 10, Kim Young-kyu, 11, Jo Ho-yeon, 12, Woo Cheol-won, 13, and Kim Tae-jin, who narrowly escaped the tragedy, were playing near Kim Tae-jin's house. At some point, one of them suggested heading to nearby Warryong Mountain to catch fire salamanders, a freshwater species common in China, Korea, and Japan, and a popular pet among boys at the time. Later, some reports mistakenly said they went to catch frogs, which is why the case became known as the Frog Boys' disappearance. The 6 kids set off eagerly, but Kim Tae-jin's mom spotted him and scolded him, saying Warryong Mountain was too far and forbidding him from going. Reluctantly, Kim Tae-jin trudged home with her, visibly upset. The other 5, undeterred, pressed on. Warryong Mountain was about 2 miles from their homes, not exactly close. It's a small hill, roughly 1,000 feet high, where kids often played and adults exercised. No one could have guessed this trip would be their last. By nightfall, when the 5 didn't return, their parents grew frantic and searched everywhere they could think of, to no avail. They reported it to the police, but with most officers assigned to election duty that day, the station was short-staffed. The police brushed it off, noting it hadn't been 24 hours yet, and suggesting the parents keep looking. With no other choice, they searched through the night and into the next morning, still finding nothing. The next day, March 27, 1991, the parents returned to the police station. This time, the cops realized 5 kids vanishing together was serious, even if it hadn't been a full day. With election officers back on duty, they agreed to help. Over 300 police were sent to scour Warryong Mountain, after a villager mentioned seeing the kids there. But even this thorough search of the small hill turned up empty. By March 28th, the police ramped up efforts, combing nearby areas like abandoned factories and houses. Still nothing. Then the media caught wind of it. Major outlets started covering the story, and it got so big that the South Korean president ordered a carpet-style search. About 320,000 people, including soldiers, were mobilized nationwide, focusing heavily on Daegu and Warryong Mountain. It was the largest manpower deployment for a single case in Korean history. Over 200 million flyers flooded the country, some even printed on cigarette packs, and a 42 million won reward was posted. For a nation of 50 million, this was unprecedented. Families and villagers joined in, searching the area at least 500 times. Yet, astonishingly, it all led nowhere. A year later, in 1992, a film company made a movie called Come Home, Frog Boys, to spread the word and hopefully uncover clues. It got widespread attention, and more people learned about the missing kids, but they seemed to have vanished into thin air. The parents were devastated, Some quit their jobs to search across South Korea. One father passed away during the grueling effort. As time dragged on, the police gave up, and the parents' tears dried up, replaced by a faint hope. Since no bodies were found, maybe the kids were still alive somewhere. Then, on September 25th, 2002, 11 years after they disappeared, a breakthrough came. A Daegu newspaper got an anonymous call claiming the Frog Boys were buried on Warryong Mountain. The police initially dismissed it as a prank, but soon after, a construction crew working near the mountain reported finding bodies. Skeptical but curious, the police brought in forensics and the families. They dug up the site and confirmed it was the 5 missing boys. At first, the police hastily concluded they died of hypothermia, a laughable claim, given how quickly the parents had searched the mountain. If they'd gotten lost, they'd have heard their parents calling. The bodies told a stranger story. 5 skeletons stacked atop each other, clothes intact, but shoes missing, with a large rock pinning them down, clear signs of foul play. The case reopened with 20,000 officers, but no leads emerged. The anonymous caller was never traced. A forensic report later revealed chilling details. 3 of the boys had skull injuries from blunt force, 1 had a broken bone, and several had missing teeth, evidence of severe violence. Their hands were tied, and bullet fragments were found, including 2 holes in 1 skull, possibly from a makeshift gun, not a standard firearm. Theories abounded, lost and frozen. Villagers debunked that. Local kids wouldn't get lost on a hill 3 kilometers from home, and the parents had searched that night. Killed by soldiers? Bullet fragments suggested it, but no military activity was logged that day, and the wounds didn't match standard ammo. A hunter's mistake? No registered hunters panned out as suspects. Someone they knew? Unlikely. The parents were ordinary folks with no enemies, and burying bodies on a heavily searched mountain would have been risky. In the end, the police speculated a deranged person or poacher did it, but the killer's identity remained elusive. On March 26, 2004, a farewell ceremony for the boys was held at Kyungpook University Hospital's morgue. Their cremated ashes were scattered into the Nakdong River, their families vowing justice. By March 25, 2006, the 15-year statute of limitations expired, meaning even if the killer was caught, they'd walk free. In 2011, a second film, Children, retold the story. Public outrage over the 15-year limit led South Korea to abolish it in 2015, ensuring future killers wouldn't escape justice by waiting it out. What really happened that day? We may never know, but I believe the truth will surface someday. Thanks for listening. I'm Michael C. Vincent. See you next time.